So if I were to give you 100 quid right now, you sitting looking at 100 grand on the table, making letters out of it like Mayweather and 50. What are you going to do with it? What is your plan to turn that 100 into 500? To turn that 500 into a ticket? To turn that ticket into 5 tickets so you can buy a freehold and look after your family? What's your plan? Right now, I know you're watching every single business show on YouTube. You're learning about ChatGPT, you're learning about all the AI, you're learning about all the things that can make you more efficient. But there's one thing they're not telling you. It's who your ass needs to become in order for you to be the man you believe you'll be in that room. It's the only thing that nobody says to you, right? Who are you actually becoming? Where are you improving yourself? I could tell you a story where I've made 40 grand in one meeting and run for it, like cook food in my 20s. Who's gonna tell you that who you need to become, the man who goes into a room, who just attracts people like rice with the vibration of your spirit, is what you should really be working on? Don't worry about ChatGPT, it's gonna do its job. Don't worry about all this automation, it's going to do its job. And I'll just tell you this about automation. When people get to a particular degree in business, we see through it. It has no integrity. We know it's not aimed at us and it's aimed at a million people. And most people in my seat don't even open those communications. These are the things that you're not being told in this war of efficiency. I remember I had a clothes shop for 11 years and I had these Ethiopian guys come through. And you know what they were asking for? You said lazy man suit? And me and my man looking at each other, what the hell is a lazy man suit? A lazy man suit, lazy man, you know, lazy man suit. Then somebody walks through in a tracksuit. He's a lazy man suit. We had no idea. You can get all the tools to be a lazy man. But what you actually require to be sitting in the chair when you're quoting Warren Buffett is radical self-accountability. There's no ChatGPT that's going to give you that. There's no ChatGPT or any other tool that's going to prepare you for the levels of loss required for you to gain genuine appreciation of what you have. So if I were to give you 100 quid right now, you sitting looking at 100 grand on the table, making letters out of it like Mayweather and 50. What are you going to do with it? What is your plan to turn that 100 into 500? To turn that 500 into a ticket? To turn that ticket into 5 tickets so you can buy a freehold and look after your family? What's your plan? Or are you planning all the material things, the toys and the waste, the subterfuge, the confusion that you would invest in? Because that's not it. And whilst you still have all that human monkey chatter, it's not to say that you can't have those things. But whilst those things are your desire, you're still not the man that you desire to be, that goes in a room and holds all the attention. Because the man who goes in the room and gets the attention of all the women is the man who's not looking for it. That's why he gets it. And that's who you need to be. So let's go through the steps. The first step is you've got to stop worrying what people think about you. It sounds like the hardest thing in the world, because this is the thing. If anybody knew my secret face, my dirtiest, darkest secrets, well, how dark are they? Have you got child images in your computer? Because that's the only one you're not coming back from. Everything else that you have a predilection to, that you think is dark, is normal in the minds of men. Heterosexual grown men, trust me. So what is it that you really care about when I speak about the great unwashed? So first, let me define them. The great unwashed are people who haven't developed themselves past the programs that they received in school, so that when they watch the news, they still watch it like it's 1983 and they'll be first in line to get their injection. And that's okay, there's room for them. If we're on a Titanic, I'm not trying to convince them. They are the ones who will be sitting in their chair, eating their escargot, waiting for the ship to go down, watching the band play and smiling at each other. Don't worry about them. I'm only looking for the lifeboat. And if I do this, and you catch my eye, if you know the guy who's following me, I'm not gonna say one word to you. I'm just gonna find the lifeboat, lower it, and me and my son are gonna be in it. What the great unwashed think don't matter. Will Smith is a superhero. I'm not capable of being that man. You, irrespective of your ego, are not capable of being that man. That man boxed a man in his face on his night, defending his wife's honor, and the entire world turned against him. So fuck them and who they know. That is the great unwashed I'm talking about. Nobody cares about you that much. So all the things that you are hiding from the world with shame and disgust don't actually matter, because you're not that important. And those are the reasons why you're in your own way. The first part is getting out of your own way by cutting off what the great unwashed think about you. It doesn't matter. And when you've done that, you're actually free as a man to be in a world that can be as creative as you can be. And when you start to realize the levels of creativity required to become a millionaire and retain it, you'll start to do the research because you don't mind standing out. What is a trust? Oh, I'm supposed to use my first 5,000 to set up a family trust. So now I'm not paying tax. So that I don't personally own anything in my straw. It's all in the name of the trust. Now I actually have the vehicle to gain the wealth that I originally thought of. Or are you going to be someone who'd bust your ass and be paying tax on your house every year just because you own it? That don't make any sense. You see, the minute you stop worrying about what the great unwashed think, you start asking what the 1% actually do, because they don't care. And if you are in any misapprehension as to who the great unwashed are and the 1%, look at Boris. Boris looked like a fool, right? He messes up his hair, goes into a room, just talks nonsense, lies, knows that you know he's lying. But if he's in retention of an 800 grand loan from the man that he put in a position at the BBC, what does he care? He's won. Winning ain't gotta be pretty. So now, if Boris can do that, he actually beat up his fiancée during a political election whilst he was running. The police were called to his yard for screaming, and he didn't care. What dark secrets are you hiding from? What do you think matters that much? Change your relationship with the story that you tell yourself about you. Because the only reason you're not going after bigger money is based on the story that you are telling you about you. People like us. Are you like the great unwashed? Do you not know that you're listening to me for a specific reason? Do you not know that the closest 4 people to you wouldn't sit through this? They would have cut it off because it's boring. I'm not saying anything interesting. And I'm saying it in a more resonant way to you than a European man is going to say it. So if you aren't hearing this, are you really cut out to be the man that can hold $1 million in your hand? Are you cut out to be the man who will go into a room, keep all of your vernacular, all of your confidence, and close a deal, and know that when you walk away, nobody's got anything over you because you won? You took the resources out of the room, and that was all that was necessary. So that's the first degree. When we talk about degrees, the first one is the cremation of care. Do I care what the great unwashed think about me? No. Now, I'm not telling you not to care what anybody thinks about you. That's now based on your behavior. The second arch degree, how do you treat people that matter? Do you take advantage of people? Do you use them? Or do you treat them like the gold that they are and allow them to know at every stage of your process that it's not possible for you to take them for granted based on how you treat them and value them? Now, if I gave you a baby to hold in your arms and said, take care of that baby, would you treat your teammates or your staff who you pay in the same way that you would take care of that baby? If not, again, you're not ready to be that guy. Because don't believe for 1 minute all this bullshit about nice guys finish last. You're not going to be a nice guy, because then you couldn't be an advocate in the room. But trust me, the people who are here on the last floor of development are kind. And those people's kindness precedes them. And that's why people will jump over a cliff with them with no parachute based on an idea. Because it's bigger than them. It's not because the individual likes them. It's because they know the proposition they're involved in will inevitably be worth millions. Are you there? Is your trajectory carrying you there? These are the things that you need to develop within yourself. The third stage, after you know that everything you do matters in how you treat your team, how you treat your loved ones, how you treat your children, is how you prepare your work. If your work is substandard, and I mean if you knew that within 5 paragraphs you didn't put a full stop on one of them, and you'd sent an email and you could catch it, delete it, go back in the Word document again and put that full stop in there, attach it and resend it, would you? Is that how closely you pay attention to detail and how much you think about the quality of your work? To say whatever anybody says about my work, I know it's not that, it's personal. That's the haters, which is why you have to get rid of the human monkey chatter from the great unwashed. Do you care about the standard of your work that you would change one full stop? I do, I've done it. I will be putting out my work and I know the mistake is in there. I'll delete the version that is rendered after 10 minutes. I will go back, I will re-edit, and I will let it render again. And I will put up what I'm happy with. Is your attention to detail that? Because that's the guy who can get the million. Now I'm going to confuse you on the next point. Because I'm telling you, getting started doesn't have to look like perfection. We're on Windows 11, right? But you heard of Windows 7. Now imagine if Bill Gates didn't release Windows until he got to the stage of Windows 11. I said winning doesn't have to look pretty. And this is where it can sound contradictory, because a lot of us, specifically melanated people, when it's perfect and I'm going to move it, and in 99 iterations, then you're going to do it. 2 years later, somebody has perfected your idea with a team because they had all the elements, put it out, it's made $1 million and you missed the boat. And you said, yeah, that's what I was going to do and I missed the boat. Because you were supposed to put out Windows 7. Perfect it as much as you can, but be in the market now, perfecting the iterations to get to Windows 11. Now that sounds contradictory. In your presentation, make it the best you can make it based on what you have. But get in the market. Do you think anybody is going to be great at sex from watching porn? No. You got to get in bed where it's messy. You got to be right opposite her, sweating. And you got to mess up. Oh, sorry. And do you know what you do? You get back on the horse until she looks at you like a sex god. But you only get that from being in the field, because it's real in the field. What's in your head doesn't matter. It's not real. It's real in the field, and you have to get in the field. Some of us are constantly starting. Like, I won't see somebody for 5 years and they'll tell me they're still perfecting this thing. Do you know how many things I've made money from during that season? That they've been perfecting what they're doing. I've got involved in an industry that I wasn't even working in. Youth work with a brother, And we've drawn down 12 grand, then 16 grand, and delivered X amount of programs, and they've done nothing. Perfecting. And I know I couldn't even get money in that time. And I write a bid for somebody else's organization, and I know it's going through. So these are the things where we're in our own way based on the story that we tell ourselves. So now I have to be transparent with you. How did I get to the point where I stopped caring about the human monkey chatter, where I stopped caring about the obstacles and all of these things that were in front of me? Well, herein lie the tools that SigmaCarta is providing now. I listened to learning materials in my delta state, in my theta state before being asleep, and I completely rewired my subconscious mind over the course of 2 years. I'm a regular guy with a regular dick just like you. If I can do it, you can do it. These are the free materials that SigmaCarta provides that I want you to consume at night, to rewire synaptics that aren't currently connected, synaptics that go from nothing to something. So when you are actually thinking about what you want to create, you are no longer in a void of having to invent it. You've already been telling your subconscious mind is a bin, and everything that you throw in that bin is gonna stick. Now, you don't realize just how much you might be going to bed with the TV on, listening to the news. You might be listening about terrorism and propaganda and murder and how the economy is bad. What are you putting in your subconscious mind? Why do you think you're so concerned about a crash or the price of food rising when the world is abundant? You could create a subscription proposition tomorrow and make 5 grand before you wake up. But instead, you were listening about the crash, and now you want to leave your business proposition and go and get a job to give your 40 hours a week to somebody else. Now, I've got on stage and spoken and invoiced £1,000 for my 40 minutes. I've gone into a room with men who charge 5 grand for that same 40 minutes, and a man who says he's going to invoice for 10. So what are you planning on doing with your 40-hour week based on fear? Because you know what I'm saying right now in front of this camera is making me an authority in my area where I'm going to go and get £1 grand for speaking for 40 minutes. What does that tell you about what you're worth? Are you telling me you can't get 100 for speaking on your expertise in your area? So now let's explore how we make ourselves an authority in our area of discipline. Sigmas. I know some of you in the deepest, darkest recesses of your mind are saying, why are we paying for our subscription? This is why you're paying for your subscription. See, one thing about me, I have a formula to be everything, everywhere, all the time. I know how to steal the oxygen out of every room. And I don't make it up. It's actually a formula. You see, when I get up in the morning, I will put my finger in the air and I will gauge, what do I need to be talking about? Then I'll write three-line paragraphs. I will go to social media. I will make a 1-minute video that will make me sound like the authority, the greatest authority on this topic of all time. That is a highly impactful video. Also emotive, because the emotions are how people connect with you. And once you draw people's heartstrings, forget about the mind. We are trained to seek external validation, and that all lies in heart-centered emotion. Heart-centered thinking. Draw on their emotions. So you take the text and you present it in an emotive way in between 60 and 120 seconds. Once you've done that, you go to Twitter You type the topic in search. Attach your 1-minute video to every single one of those drop downs and some portion copy and paste of your 3 paragraphs. Because now when you respond, you're going to copy and paste from the other 2 paragraphs. And you're going to do that all day. No, you're not. You're going to do that for about half an hour. And you could be on 100 posts in that 30 minutes. Then you're going to post that same video to TikTok. You're going to post that same video to Instagram. You're going to post that same video, or you can make a more sanitized version with just as much emotion for LinkedIn with your same 3 paragraphs, and you put the whole thing. Now, when people turn around at 5 o'clock, because you started at 8 a.m., you are going to be everything, everywhere, all at once. That is a formula. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, all of the above. You take the still, you make the thumbnail, you might use AI for that, which is the only place that is useful. But irrespective of AI, it is you who understands how to draw down on emotive topics in whatever area you choose to cover that is going to get the eyes, minds, and hearts of the people. That is how you fast track your way to gauging their attention. Now, all the way you are doing that, you're doing what? You are establishing yourself as an authority in your area, and then you follow it up by selling whatever you do. Simple formula. People want to meet the criteria of what is hot. We make shit hot. Once you've made yourself the authority, people are going to come to you. And once they come to you as the authority, now you are directing the zeitgeist wherever you want to influence them. See, we use this term influencer very loosely, but if I'm highly influential and then I take 10 grand to influence you to go and get a jab for COVID, was it me who was influential, or am I just a prostitute who knows how to convey messages for marketing? No, I'm influential. So my job is hurry up and wait. I just had to wait for the outcome of the adverse reactions to the experimental drug to know that I was right and be vindicated. So if you know that you're right, you don't have to be a prostitute. You can remain on message consistently, coming from an emotive slant without being emotional. Does that make sense? You don't have to be an emotional mess to say things in an emotive way to draw people into your message, so that when it all falls down, you can say, I was consistent, history has proved me to be right, and I was everywhere all the time, based on that formula. Point 1, what do you want to be influential in? Right, 3 impactful paragraphs, 3 3-line paragraphs, 9 lines. That's not the biggest ask, even if you do not write. Say it and write it how you say it. Whether you got to record first and it seems like you're just transcribing what you recorded, don't directly transcribe what you record. Listen to what I'm saying. Write 3 3-line paragraphs, because you're going to copy and paste, and writing is different from talking. Trust me. I don't write how I speak. What I write endorses what I say and just backs it up so that it's more credible. I speak well and I write well, but I write differently from I speak. So now when I'm coming in very quickly with my reactions, it's because I'm premeditated. I've already done it. And this also goes into the spirit of what I do. Because if you meet me and we're going to do business, you might frequently hear me say, we've already done it. It just hasn't happened yet. Relax. You're pushing on an open door. There's no sales pitch with me because I can see your DNA and I already know what we're going to do. I know exactly what it looks like. And don't think that you're not going to have all your input. Yet still, I know exactly what the outcome is going to look like. You're going to develop this eye. But first practice. You see, you get your 5,000 hours. And you see, by the time you get to 10,000 hours, it's just going to be in your DNA. You'll wake up, you put a finger in the air, see which way the wind is traveling, you'll catch it and you'll be on the pulse of the zeitgeist and you'll be leading them by the end of an 8-hour day. Trust me, I've done it too many times. And it becomes your second nature. But herein lies the formula. Either record your video first. If you don't know what to write, you will know what to say. Listen to that. Write what endorses what you've said with your mouth. Post every single platform. Tailor it slightly if you feel the need, because you still have those pangs in your chest about what the great unwashed think. The only thing that I would tailor it slightly is for LinkedIn, because you know that they're all business people. And even as much as some of us have got lazy and we've started to post in a business environment, in a civilian way, my advice is don't do it. You know, during lockdown, people were doing interviews and going into studios and wearing t-shirts and shorts. I wore a suit. Do you know why? Because the interviews last for perpetuity. And while you look like a lazy man, I look like a professional conveying a message that's worth listening to. Be premeditated. Think about what we're doing and think about everything that we're doing that is recorded lasts for perpetuity. You have to get that serious about you. And I want you to think about people in school who are in their 20s, who studied accountancy or law, and look at where they are now. Say, wow, I was in the same class and they got their yard and they got 4 kids and they got that 2.5 kids life and the car and everything that goes with it. And then there was me and I was on the road and then I went back because they took over. The more serious you are, more quickly, the quicker you will establish yourself as an authority. Take it from a late learner. I learned quick, but I learned late because I didn't take myself that seriously. I thought I was in the environments, but knowing what I know now, I really didn't. Adopt what I'm saying and apply it. Don't know it to say it and say knowledge is power. Knowledge means fuck all to someone who doesn't apply it. I don't care if you start applying it tomorrow and you're doing a half-hearted version. Just do it for 30 days. By the 30th day, you are going to take yourself seriously. And more importantly, those people who can become your future clients or who will open doors for you without £1 being involved will take you seriously. And they are a very different proposition from the great unwashed. You know, I'll talk about the things we take for granted. And I remember when I changed my entire routine from being 10 hours in my shop, from opening to cashing up and setting up for the next day, to be sitting at my desk every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I found after about 8 weeks, I started to feel a depression and I didn't know what it was. And this has got nothing to do with mindset. This is completely biological. So now I'll tell you what I was doing. After I'd meditated in the morning, fantastic, holy, wonderful, enlightenment, giving the lady her medicine first thing in the morning, every morning, God bless. How could I be feeling depressed? I'm at home, giving the lady her medicine, had breakfast, I'm drinking coffee 4-5 cups a day. Do you know I wasn't doing? I wasn't drinking water. And then I listened to a nutritionist. If you are dehydrated, it can lead to thoughts of depression. Immediately, what did I do? Because I'd stocked up on water like rice. I put the bottle on the table. And I made sure that I had water therapy throughout the day. And also, being 47 at the time, gentlemen, irrespective of how hard your dick gets at the moment, 47 is not 27 plus VAT. Water therapy is important to keep your arteries clear. I drink copious amounts of rum. That sugar is no good for the arteries. I drink coffee. That is not necessarily good for the arteries, although it may have some health byproducts, not the amount that I drink. Water keeps us regulated. And then I started to think about my diet. So what am I having? I will have my cheese omelette or scrambled eggs and toast every morning. How much fruit am I consuming? How much alkali am I consuming to keep my mind sharp? And then, as a talker, someone who is giving public talks, a speaker who is paid, I started to forget terms right in the middle of my talk. Shit. Research. What is going to help me with my memory? Ginkgo biloba. Ginseng is going to help my man defy 45 degrees. Okay, so this is what I need to be in optimal shape. I need to be on water therapy. I need to be consuming fruit. I need to be taking my ginkgo biloba for my mind. I need to be taking my ginseng, keep my arteries good. And then I need to be lifting weights, because when I'm in motion, it keeps my mood up. Go jogging, because the motion keeps my vibration high. You know, once I mastered that, I practiced it daily. So then I factored into my routine what was missing. So after I did the meditation in the morning, before I sat down at my desk, now I'm doing Tai Chi. I'm doing the patting. That opens up the arteries. That also gives you that feeling of motion in the morning. So 20 minutes of Tai Chi, again, great for how I thought, great for how I felt about myself, great for how it impacted my work and my attitude to my work. So when I talk about all the things that's going to make you the optimal version of you, that we put woo around when we hear billionaires say it, fuck what you think you know. You know fuck all, which is why you are where you are. Any one day you see me out of a 30-day month, same guy, Monday through Sunday, you are not capable of making me lose my rag. People have tried. They are the great unwashed. That human monkey chatter was for another state of my life. You don't have the qualification. The only person who can make me lose my rag in that way is my son. And that's because I care too much about what he says and does. That is it. You're going to graduate to this stage if you're not there yet. And you're going to do the things that make you the optimal version of you to perform at the level necessary to bring in the type of money that you desire to acquire. Everybody comes around you, right? Because you're that guy. I don't need to contact them because everybody phones me, everybody contacts me. Everybody contacts you because you are hot within your season. But guess what? Even Forrest was hot within his season. That's why they made a movie about him. He wasn't hot the whole that time he was jogging. He was hot when he had the president shit happens t-shirt. He was hot when he was hot, just like you. But don't Forrest Gump your way through the important relationships in your life. Your children, your woman, your closest colleagues and allies. your dear friends. Contact them because you're mindful about them, and don't hold back. Let them know exactly how you feel about them, because they are the only motherfuckers who are going to hold you up when you're not hot. And at some point, you ain't going to be hot. Biggie dropped that jewel on me. When you hot, you're hot. Just live long enough. You won't be. It's cool dying at 27 and leaving a good-looking corpse or a not-so-good-looking corpse, because then what we have is fantasy about it would have been. But there'd have been a stage in your life where you're not hot. And this is why when we say the greatest rapper alive, no, just the greatest rapper, because Hov lived. And irrespective of what you think about anybody else rapping is emotional. Hov the greatest rapper, that clear that one up. Because what he says is relevant. And it's relevant to his peers, which is why I still listen to Hov. In fact, I can give you a Hov line for every single problem that you throw up. He ain't gonna tell you in the interview. So, you know, you can watch him and Kevin Hart, and there are people quoting, ooh, he won't give his cousin money, because his cousin is one of the great unwashed, and he know that money's going in the bin. You see, gratitude in all things. However, I digress. Hov lived through the seasons when he wasn't hot, but he know how to make himself hot again. You see, the relationships that he kept because he knew who was gold in his life. Why do you think he has the Rock Nation branch? Because every motherfucker alive wants to live up to the criteria being there, right? How many people can't get in? You keep on knocking, but you can't get in. Hov know that. He set a criteria to be around the best rapper who ever lived. And what happened? Everybody who is anybody wants to be there. They don't want to go. Trust me. Hov send them an invite, they be there. They be wearing white at the Rockefeller branch. Trust me. I love Dame. Dame is a man after my own heart as an independent who owns his own way, who then doesn't have to care about what he says. But as my grandfather said, don't care what's made to care now. You see, where we can become complacent and shut ourselves out of rooms because we don't think we have to care, people who create their own rooms have to care more than anybody. And irrespective of whether Hov has the corporates, Hov creates his own rooms. Hov saw what Live Nation did. And he said, fuck it, I'm going to piggyback you and I'm going to create Rock Nation. And that's what he did. And then he got the infrastructure to do it by himself. Look at that talent, because that is a talent. I call it infiltration 101. Can you go in a room where the formula is there, make yourself indispensable, pick up the whole formula, duplicate the whole formula, and metaphysically transfer that onto what you're doing? Because if you can, you're a genius. And you're the genius formerly known as Hov before Sean Carter killed that in 444, which was his alter ego. You see, you also have to be able to kill the previous incarnations of you that don't serve, because that incarnation is attached to all of the human monkey chatter that you care too much about. Why do you think former gangsters come out of jail have to hold up this baboon who was a gangster, as intelligent as they are? Because they think that being the criminal was what was relevant. No, you simple-minded motherfucker, it was you all the time. When I used to go to the estate, certain men ain't there, I'd be there for 30 minutes and bounce, because it's not live today. I was one of those guys. If I'm there, it's live. Because I'm funny, because I'm smart, I'm entertaining. What's the point of being in a room with 10 dead guys? No, the main man ain't here. So I'm gonna bounce, because the conversation goes in rotation too many times and he's dead. It's never about the crime. It's about you. But you've attached yourself to the human monkey chatter that don't serve. Kill the old version. Fuck Jay-Z. How could we ever know if we could trust Jay-Z? Shot his own brother. Do you understand? Take the clues when I speak spiritually about everything. Everything is associated to metaphysics at the higher degrees of knowledge. It's not Freemasonry and worshipping the devil. This is what was learned in the mystery schools. If you're a Christian, your Jesus went to the mystery schools for 33 years and popped up out of nowhere at 33. The magic number to be an impactful man. But he learned the same degrees as me within the mystery schools. The schools that you so shook of. In that Kemetic knowledge that you call devil worshipping in Christianity. Understand, this is how the world actually works. This is where the masters of the universe actually studied. This is what they studied. Don't be scared of knowledge. All knowledge is good. You have a choice as a man, which is merely what do what thou wilt means. Wisdom is applied knowledge. Don't have to become a Freemason and molest children. That's for imbeciles. Incidentally, all that fear is what keeps the great unwashed out by design. So, do you know the monk, Dunstable, Scottish, from the 16th century? Genius. He was a lecturer. But because the church didn't necessarily want you to know what he knew, they put a different inference on his name until teachers started making paper hats and putting a D on it and putting children in the corner and calling it the dunce cap. Who's Dunstable now? The great unwashed have no interest, right? Because it's for dunces. No. What he said about the gnosis, the higher consciousness, might have you thinking more like Rev Ike, that said there is a gnosis, the supreme being, but it might lead you to thinking it's inside of you. Now, how are you going to sell indulgences, chicken bones, goat bones, telling people it's Jesus bones, if they're thinking about the God inside of them like Rev Ike? Won't work, right? So it's easy to scare the great unwashed by just putting out a little bit of propaganda. You aren't that. This is why we set fire to our egos, knowing that you can never completely extrapolate the ego, so we can go to the arch degree. So where we perform is different from the great unwashed. Understand, we ain't going to be sitting in the corner wearing dunce caps. We're going to be researching the lectures in university of Dunstable that might just have us driving a Rolls Royce like Rev Ike. I know you're no different from me, you're Rachel. If you're balling out of control, I'm the last man you'd be watching. I know why you're drawn to me. And I know why my words resonate. It's because you're going through the sorting period. You're being prepared for greatness. But you're actually a sufferer, Rachel. You're suffering because all the bullshit around you is being removed. The people that you love that you're not supposed to be around, they're just removing themselves, right? Ask me how I know. I've been through the sorting process. What it's doing is it is preparing you for the 11th floor. The floor that you always wanted to be at, but you hadn't lost enough to have the gratitude to remain in. That's why largely your shit has been feast and famine, right? Ask me how I know. Because I'm equally as much of a wretch as you. I have been through it. I've been balling out of control because I made this much money. Listen, I'm not well. When I closed my shop, I turned around to my man and I said I probably had 200 suits. My brothers looked at me and they say, you're rich. You probably had closer to 400 because you're not well. You was doing it at that scale. These toys, these images of magic that we love, that fool other people, that make up for who we aren't. But because we're being sorted, we are actually becoming the genuine version of the man who's in that suit. And here's the joke. When we actually become that man, we don't even need half of the shit that we gained in that period. Because that was all about the lack. Know that this motherfucker sitting right here, there's no lack. These are the real thing, you see? You see, the wretch is being torn apart from you. The wretch is the ego, the human monkey chatter, the chimpanzee, the ape. You were never that. You were the signal that was being broadcast to the radio, not realizing there is no band in the radio, it's just the signal. Your sorting is preparing you for the best version of you, because that's the motherfucker that can hold the M when you get in a room. Because you see these guys I'm talking about, they will never come, they'll say, it's God, it's God, it's God, it's God. But the God they're talking about is the same God that Reverend Ike is talking about. It just happened that, like me, he understood Infiltration 101. And he knew that it was the black Christians who were going to buy him a Rolls Royce. But the beauty of Rev Ike is he let them know who God really is, the God in you. Now, the church didn't like it. Europeans didn't like it. And the hustler pimp, reverends who were his peers, didn't like it. But you know what? Fuck them and who they know, right? You need to know that the God in you is removing everything around you. Because your frequency is rising. Now, AM and FM don't work so well on your dial because it's DAB. That digital frequency is faster, it's direct, and this thing ain't making it anymore. Like, how does it feel trying to have those benign conversations that you would have had a decade ago? You'd be laughing and entertaining and drinking, and now when you drink, you'd rather drink by yourself, right? And gain it vicariously from YouTube. Or, occasionally, you are attracted to those of a similar ilk. Because the quickening in your chest is attracting you to men just like you. And if you're slightly further along the journey, you're just going to keep bumping into motherfuckers like you, thinking, where were you hiding? But you know what it is? You know when we say that shit, like if you say you want a chihuahua, now you start seeing chihuahuas everywhere. Might also be because you're walking in Chelsea. But you're starting to meet people just like you, right? The quickening is attracting you to them. And these people that you love dearly at one stage in your life, you just can't take it anymore. You have no desire to be in those circles. And you are extrapolating yourself. I know why. Because I've done it. I've been through it with a woman. There was a time, my criteria is you had a perfect suntan, breasts like Mike Tyson's fists, and a fat ass. That's far from my criteria today. I mean, you still gotta have that shit. But you actually got to be someone I can touch spiritually. Otherwise, no bamboo for you, mademoiselle. This journey that you're on is very serious. And you can't get off the train once you're on it, because maybe you go mad. Who the fuck told you to take the red pill? Should have took the blue pill, right? And stayed in the human monkey chatter. But you are actually going through a spiritual shift, and that's what your sorting is. And that's why you're in so much pain. I don't know, maybe you at the depression stage now, where you feel you're losing shit, but things are being ripped away from you because they are distracting you from becoming. And what you are is becoming. You know, the way this thing works, it might work in someone having an affair. It might work in them just completely developing a personality that you didn't recognize. It might result in somebody passing, physically dying, to shift you from who you were to who you are supposed to be. And there's so much pain within that and anguish that you don't know what to do. But you've got to keep going forward because you're on the right path. You're only here for a very finite set of reasons, and it is to realize you're becoming. And your becoming is as spiritual as much as it is your acumen. Your spirit will inform the superior acumen though. Because you were doing shit in an average way and you thought average was okay. You're not an average guy, you never were. You just believed the peers that were saddling you. And that's why they're being stripped out of your life. That's why you're being brought to this position. And it's emotional. Unfortunately, motherfucker, there's no crisis line to phone for this. And I ain't got the inclination to listen to it. But what I do have is the advice having gone through it. I'm gonna let you know a secret. It's an inside job. Nobody can help you. You know, in the military, they dig this tunnel and they put like water and mud, and you got to crawl through like 10 meters of mud, holding your breath, where everything in fiber of your being tells you you're gonna drown. No, you're gonna get to the other side. And when you get to the other side, you think you're normal. You think you could have been that same guy who hadn't crawled through 10 meters of mud with no way of breathing. But you knew if you kept going forward on your elbows, pushing with your knees, it was inevitable that you come out the other side. But you can't remain the same guy. You set fire to who you were, and that's the painful part. Because you've been investing in that guy your whole life, and now you're letting it go. So if people don't recognize you, I know you don't recognize you, but you gotta go through it. And as I said, it's an inside job. You gotta do it by yourself. This is what the Elon Musks and these guys don't tell you. What do you think, these guys? They just see their wife and they want to get divorced to get a younger model? You simple-minded motherfucker. No. They shift, but they didn't. You've got to go through it alone. And just because you decided to take the red pill, who the hell says anybody else did, right? Nobody's obligated to agree with you. Nobody's obligated to follow you. This is God's work now, but that God lives in you. Like I keep talking about Rev Ak. Like I say, where Hove gave you the jewels in 444. Fuck Jay-Z. How could we ever know we could trust Jay-Z? That was the metaphysical killing of his ego, because he surpassed that level. So all the limitations that Jay-Z had, Sean Carter, the billionaire, don't. You have that inside of you. And that's why you're listening to me. You just got to know that your becoming is inevitable. And the guy that you want to be will be. Here's the thing. I keep certain tools around me, and I always keep a scribble book. So this is my spell book. This is my latest spell book. They start big and they get smaller, and I whittle them down until they're fat free. You need to write what you are becoming so you can become it. Because as you write in these spells, you are actually informing yourself and giving yourself a schedule. This is why we create dates. You create dates around what is inevitable. The reason I write color-coded, I write budgets, I write dates, I write personal things, I write business, I write everything. Because I believe it. You are coming to a stage of what I call awareness, knowing. And you will know because you are reaffirming it to yourself in every way. You are telling yourself every day, and you are writing every day. Get yourself a spell book and start to record your becoming. As you look back over your spell book, you're going to say, I wrote that shit, and within 3 months, I became it. That's how intentional you need to become. Your becoming will 100% come to manifestation because you're not going to give in. And you know the only people who fail are those who stop. There is no stopping until you touch the other side. So let me give you the picture, because you know when we have a photograph in our subconscious mind, it makes it real. And the photograph that I have, you ever seen someone swimming with their head down and you say, how that motherfucker breathe? He can't breathe. So do you think that gives him less or more urgency to touch the other side of the pool? Then look at these motherfuckers who's looking up, who's looking at me. That creates drag, right? Get your head down in your becoming. Know that this is now the path you're committed to, and don't look up until you touch the other side. That's how you know you've become. And you know, after that, there'll be another race. And you know what you do then? Get your motherfucking head down and don't come up until you touch the other side.